Hello and welcome back to Maths with Matthew. This episode is all about algebra. We've got the three main things, well, which I think is the main things about algebra for you today. So we've got solving equations, we've got expanding brackets, and we've got rearranging the formula. That's the last one. We've got rearranging the formula as well. Okay, which is actually the first one. But anyway. Do be sure to follow along with me with the questions. Try and do them yourself before I complete them. And yeah, have fun. We're going to get right into them now. Enjoy. Okay, so we're going to get into this first question here, and it's a simple enough rearrange the formula this time. So it shouldn't be too hard. Obviously, this is first one just to edge it into the algebra. Edge it in. Okay. So it says rearrange y equals 1 over the square root of x plus 1 to make x the subject. So we want to make x equal some y's, right? Some amount of y's. And let's do that, okay? So the first thing so we want to try and get x on its own. So the first thing I'm going to do is get it out of this thing. So I'm going to times both sides, because remember you have to do whatever you do on this side, you have to do on this side when you're working with equations. So I'm going to times both sides by this root x plus 1. And that'll give me root x plus 1 times y equals 1. Okay? And then I'm just going to divide by y to have this x plus 1 on its own. So square root of x plus 1 equals 1 over y. And now we're going to square both sides because we want just x, we don't want root x, we just want x on its own. Okay? And when you do that, you square both bits of the fraction. Okay? So that means that x plus 1 is equal to 1 squared over y squared, which is the same as 1 over y squared, because 1 squared is 1. Okay, and then finally, we'll make an x the subject. We're going to minus 1 on both sides to make 1 over y squared minus 1. And there we go. That's that question done already. How quick was that? Let's do a pink box this time. Pink box. How lovely. There you go. So this is probably the hardest one we have today. This is an equation. So we're solving an equation for x this time. So solve 5 over 4x plus 1 is equal to 2x over 2 over x squared plus 3. Okay, give your solutions to 3 significant figures. You must show you're working. So this was on a calculator paper, so feel free to use your calculator if you're following along with me for this question. Okay, I'm going to start now. So the first thing I would do is try and get rid of these fractions, because I don't like them fractions. They're not going to do us any good. So 4x plus 1. What I've done here is I've just times both sides by this 4x plus 1. Not what that'll do is it'll bring this over to the top here because I'm timesing by it. That means it's the same as timesing this one by it. And then keeping the denominator the same. Or the bottom number the same. And there we go. So now we have that. Okay. And I'm just going to keep that as this for now, because what I'm going to do now is times both sides by this thing at the bottom to get rid of that fraction. So then now we have no fractions after that. So that'll leave us with 5x squared plus 3 is equal to 2x times 4x plus 1. Right, and now I'm going to expand the brackets here. So that means that 5x squared plus 15, just expanding the brackets, timesing everything in the bracket by this front number, is equal to 8x squared, 2 times 4 and x times x is 8x squared, plus 2x. Okay, and now what we want to do is we want to make this equal to 0. Okay, and the way we're going to do that is I'm just going to minus this off of it and minus this off of it, so then this is 0. And that whatever's left will be our quadratic equation that we need to solve for x. Okay. This is all equivalent, remember. You need to remember that this is always the same as this top equation. Okay, so I'm going to minus 5x squared from both sides. That's why we have to do everything to both sides and not just one of them, otherwise it wouldn't be the same anymore. And then I'm going to keep this 2x squared, and then I'm going to minus 15 off of this side. See what I've done there? So I've got 8 minus 5 is the 3x squared. That's where that comes from. This stays the same, and minus 15 at the end. There we go, there's our quadratic equation. Now we need to solve this. The way I like to do it is by completing the square. So the first thing I'm going to do, if I want to complete the square, is to divide everything by 3. Okay, it just makes life much easier if not having a front number instead of a number at the front of this x squared. So 0 equals x squared plus 2 over 3x minus 5. Okay, so divided everything by 3. And now what I'm going to do next is complete the square. So if you don't know how to do this, I have actually got a video showing you how to do this. On the first video I ever recorded about coordinate geometry, there's a bonus clip at the end where I tell you how to complete the square. So you can watch that before you see this if you want to know how to complete the square. But at this point, you could probably plug this into your calculators. I don't know if the GCSE calculators have a solve equation function, but you probably could at this point. Just plug that into your calculator because it is a calculator question after all. But I don't have one next to me currently, so I'm just going to do it this way. So now I'm going to complete the square. So x plus a half of 2/3, x plus a third squared, minus this squared, minus 1 over 9, and then the minus 5 again, is equal to 0. And then I'm just going to bring all of this over to this side. And first I'm going to say that, just to combine these numbers together, I'm going to say that minus 5 is the same as minus 45 ninths, because 9 divided by 45 is 5, and then it's a ninth, so I can combine these ninths together. And that'll basically then give us, if we're minusing 5, so we're adding 5 on both sides and adding a ninth on both sides, so that'll be 45 over 9, add a ninth, which is equal to this x squared, this thing, and then we're going to add them together, so that's going to be 46 over 9 is equal to x plus a third squared. Then now I'm going to square root both sides. So when you square root both sides, you have to square root the top and square root the bottom of the fraction. So x plus a third is then equal to root 46 over 3, because square root 9 is 3. And that's plus or minus that, because again, I've said this in previous videos, but negative, if you square negative square root of 49, it's going to be, or 46 is going to be 46, or if you square positive of the square root of 46, it's still going to be 46. So we don't know whether it's going to be plus or minus that. That's why we have to have that plus or minus symbol. And that's where our two answers come from in this quadratic equation. So there you go. And now I'm just going to minus a third from both sides to get x as the subject. So I'm going to have minus a third plus or minus root 43 over 3. And then I'm just going to simplify that one further into x equals minus 1 plus or minus root 43. I know I'm sort of squeezing this in at the bottom, over 3. And we can just add these together because they have the same denominator. If they were different, then we'd have to do some times and shenanigans and stuff, but thank God they're the same thermometer? No, denominator. The same denominator. So we can just add them together normally. It's very nice. Anyway, that's not that question done just yet. I've just realised because I've reread the question and it says give your solutions to 3 significant figures. So what I would do is just put that into my calculator and see what they are to 3 significant figures. Okay, so this is a question about expanding brackets this time. That last one was a hard question. That was, I think, the last question on a paper. So that one was a hard one, but this one should be slightly easier now. It's just expanding brackets. So it says x plus 5 times x plus 2 times x plus a is equal to x cubed plus bx squared plus cx minus 30. This triple equals just means this is exactly the same as this. Okay. So it means is an identity of, I think. But it just basically means that it's pretty much the same as an equal sign. It just means that this is exactly the same as that. Work out the values of the integers a, b, and c. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I need to work out what a is first, so I can expand this to find b and c. To work out what a is, right, I can basically say that, well, this minus 30, because it has no x's on it, it has to be 5 times 2 times a, because those are the only ones that aren't going to have x's in it. So that means that once you expand all this out, 5 times 2 times a is going to equal minus 30. Okay, and that means I can say that a is equal to minus 3, because 5 times 2 is 10, times minus 3 is minus 30. And now we can rewrite this as x plus 5, x plus 2, and then x minus 3. And we can expand this now, and that'll give us exactly what this is. Okay, so let's do that. So the way I like to expand is I'm going to do 2 brackets first and then do this last one. And I use a systematic method where I just do this times that one, and then move on to the 5 and times that by that one and that one. And then that's how I write it down every single time, so I make as few mistakes as possible. Okay. So remember, when you're timesing brackets, you can't just times this by this. You have to actually times one of the values by both of these, and then the next value by both of these. That's how you do it. Anyway, let's get into it. So this is going to be the tedious part. So x times x is x squared. X times 2 is 2x. 5 times 5x, or 5 times x is 5x, and 5 times 2 is 10. Okay, now we have that. And then minus 3 times x minus 3. Okay, and I'm just going to collect these terms here and then rewrite it out. So 2 plus 5 is 7, so now we have 7x plus 10, and then x minus 3. Now we're going to do the exact same thing, but this time we're going to times this value by both of these, this value by both of these, and then also this value by both of these. And that'll get us to what this final answer is. So let's do that now. So x squared times x is x cubed. X squared times minus 3 is minus 3x squared. 7x times x is plus 7x squared. 7x times minus 3 is minus 21x. And 10 times x is plus 10x. And then finally 10 times minus 3 is that minus 30. Remember, at the end. Okay, now I'm just going to collect all these terms and we're going to see what all the values are. So x cubed, I'll write a bit over here actually, that might be a bit close. X cubed minus 3x, oh no, bloody hell, I've just started writing it again. No, we've collected this up, aren't we? So that would be plus 4x squared, because 7 minus 3 is 4. And then 10 minus 21 is minus 11x, and then minus 30. And that is equal to x cubed plus 4x, x cubed plus bx squared plus cx minus 30. This is equal, remember, this is an identity of this. So that means that this 4 has to be this b, because that's the term in front of the x squared value, and this minus 11 has to be this c, because that's the term in front of the x. So then here we go, b is equal to 4. C, we look at this, c is equal to minus 11. And there we go, those are the values of the integers a, b, and c. That's how you do that question. I'm going to box the answer. What colour should we go for? I'm going to scroll down. Feeling saucy today. Okay, what about an even darker pink this time? We said we were having a pink day on the last one, so we'll go for a darker pink that time. There we go. That's our questions done for today. That's a bit demonic, but anyway, yep, done. That is going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, or maybe even learned something. Probably not though. I hope you did. But that's it for another video of Maths with Matthew. Hope to see you in the next one. Yeah, bye.